Portland, Oregon, is known for its lush green landscapes, quirky locals, and, for those who know where to look, a touch of the supernatural. Perched high in the West Hills, overlooking the city, sits a mansion that's become a bit of a legend around here, the Pittock Mansion. Now, this isn't one of those haunted houses with a tragic past of unspeakable horrors or terrible crimes. Nope, this one's different. The spirits that call Pittock Mansion home don't seem all that scary. In fact, they come across as, well, friendly. Let's rewind to the early 1900s, when Henry and Georgiana Pittock decided they needed a grand house for their golden years. Henry, the founder of the Oregonian newspaper, had made quite a fortune, and Georgiana was a well-loved figure in Portland's social circles. They weren't young anymore, and they wanted a house that reflected their status and gave them a view they could enjoy in their retirement. Enter architect Edward T. Falk, who designed them a stunning 46-room French Renaissance-style mansion. And if you've ever been to Portland, you know that the view from up there is something else. On a clear day, you can see the whole city laid out below you. By 1914, the mansion was finished, and it was a masterpiece. But, as luck would have it, Henry and Georgiana didn't get to enjoy their retirement for very long. Georgiana passed away in 1918, and Henry followed her just a year later. It was almost as if life had played a cruel trick on them, giving them this incredible home and then taking away their time to enjoy it. But here's where the story takes a turn. They never really left. Over the years, people started noticing things at Pittock Mansion that were just a little off. And by off, I mean footsteps when no one's there, flickering lights, and even the occasional sighting of a figure walking through the halls. But these ghosts weren't your typical, chain-rattling type. They were more like house guests who never got the memo that the party ended. One of the most frequent reports from visitors is the smell of roses, specifically rose perfume. Now, if you're wondering why that's a big deal, it's because Georgiana Pittock was known for her love of roses. She even helped start Portland's famous Rose Festival, which is still a huge deal in the city today. So, when you're walking through the upper floors of the mansion, especially near what used to be her bedroom, and you suddenly catch a whiff of roses, it's easy to believe that Georgiana might still be strolling through the place. But it's not just the smell of roses that has people talking. Some say they've heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps, especially in the quiet parts of the house. And it's not just a creaky floorboard here and there. These are solid, deliberate footsteps, as if someone is walking from room to room, checking on things. Some visitors have even insisted that they've seen portraits of Henry Pittock move, as if he's watching them from the walls. It's not creepy, exactly, but it's enough to make you stop in your tracks and wonder if you're alone. Now, one of the most famous stories from the mansion involves a staff member who swore she turned off all the lights before locking up for the night. As she was walking away, she glanced back at the mansion and saw every single light blazing inside. Needless to say, she didn't stick around to check it out. So, what's it like sharing a house with Henry and Georgiana? Well, by most accounts, not too bad. Sure, they like to make their presence known, whether it's the smell of roses, the sound of footsteps, or even the occasional figure in a long dress drifting through the halls. But they seem to have a good sense of boundaries. They're not throwing things around or slamming doors. Instead, it's almost like they're still playing host, making sure everything's in order. One visitor swears she saw a woman in a long dress moving through one of the rooms. She wasn't startled or scared. In fact, she said it felt peaceful, as if she was catching a glimpse of the past, a moment frozen in time. That's the thing about the Pittocks. Even in death, they seem to carry this aura of elegance, like they're still the dignified owners of this incredible home. Outside the mansion, the grounds tell their own story. You might hear the sound of shoveling or heavy footsteps, especially near dusk. Some people think it's the groundskeeper, who, like the Pittocks, seems to have stuck around long after his time. He lived and worked at the mansion for years, and by all accounts, took great pride in keeping the property immaculate. Even in the afterlife, it seems like old habits die hard. Now, it's easy to chalk up some of these experiences to overactive imaginations or the quirks of an old house. But when so many people, from visitors to staff, report the same strange happenings, it's hard to ignore. And the stories aren't just limited to things that go bump in the night. Sometimes, it's as subtle as a cool breeze passing through a room or the sensation that someone is standing right behind you, only for you to turn around and find no one there. Despite all the ghostly activity, Pittock Mansion is far from the terrifying haunted houses you hear about in other parts of the country. There's no sinister energy, no dark secrets buried in the walls. Instead, it feels like a place where the past and present exist side by side. The Pittocks, after all, spent so little time in their beloved home while they were alive. Maybe they're just trying to make up for lost time. For the people who work at the mansion, these encounters have become almost routine. One guide even joked that if she ever gets a whiff of roses or hears footsteps when no one else is around, she just says, "Oh, that's just Georgiana making her rounds." It's as if the Pittocks have become part of the family, their presence just another detail in the long and rich history of the house. So, if you ever find yourself in Portland and want to take in some history with a side of the supernatural, Pittock Mansion is the place to be. Don't worry, you're more likely to get a friendly nod from Henry or a quick hello from Georgiana than anything scary. Just make sure you say thanks for sharing their home before you leave. It's only polite, after all.